I stared at the text message on my phone, reading it 3 times to make sure I understood correctly. Patricia, we're adults now. We don't need you hovering over us, questioning every decision we make. Michael and I are building something real. And frankly, your negativity is exhausting. We'll figure things out on our own. It was sent from my son Michael's phone, but I knew those words weren't his. After 35 years of being his mother, I could hear Vanessa's voice in every syllable. I sat there in my living room in Coral Gables, still in my scrubs from the hospital, and felt something shift inside me. Not anger exactly, more like clarity. That cold, sharp clarity that comes when you finally see a situation for what it really is. I didn't respond. I set my phone down on the coffee table and went to make myself dinner. Let me back up. I need you to understand how we got here. 3 years ago, my son Michael met Vanessa at some networking event in Miami. She was 28 then, working as a social media consultant, which as far as I could tell, meant she took pictures of her breakfast and posted them online. Michael was smitten. She was beautiful, I'll give her that. Glossy dark hair, perfect teeth, and that practiced way of tilting her head when she took selfies that made her cheekbones look like they could cut glass. They got married quickly. Too quickly. But Michael was 32, and I figured he was old enough to make his own choices. I smiled at the wedding, hugged Vanessa, welcomed her to the family. The request started small. 6 months after the wedding, they needed help with a security deposit for a bigger apartment. We're expanding, Vanessa said, her eyes bright with excitement. My following is growing so fast, Patricia. We need space for a proper content studio. This is an investment in our future. I wrote the check. $3,000. Michael promised they'd pay me back within 6 months. They didn't. Then it was camera equipment. The iPhone just isn't cutting it anymore. Mom, Michael explained over dinner at my house, Vanessa needs professional gear. All the successful influencers have it. She's this close to landing a major brand deal with a skincare company. I looked at my son, at the hope in his eyes, and I couldn't say no. $4,000 for cameras, lights, and editing software. The brand deal never materialized. Next came the business trip to Los Angeles. Vanessa needed to attend an influencer conference. This is how you network in this industry, Patricia, she told me. As if I were a child who didn't understand how the world worked. You have to be seen. You have to make connections. I paid for their flights, their hotel, their meals. $2,500. Vanessa came back with a lot of Instagram photos and 0 connections that led anywhere. But the real pattern started about 18 months ago. Every 6 to 8 weeks, there'd be another crisis. The car needed repairs. Their landlord was raising the rent. Vanessa's website needed a redesign. They needed new furniture for better video backgrounds. Michael had to update his wardrobe for Vanessa's couple content. Each time, Vanessa would craft the message. Sometimes she'd have Michael call me. Sometimes she'd send texts from his phone. And every single time, there was this undertone of guilt. After everything you've taught me about family, Mom, you always said family helps family. I thought I could count on you. I kept a spreadsheet. That's the nurse in me. We're organized. We track things. Over 2 years, I'd given them $47,000. $47,000 that I'd saved, working double shifts at Miami General, covering holidays so younger nurses could be with their kids, taking on extra patients when we were understaffed. And what did my son and daughter-in-law have to show for it? Vanessa had 12,000 Instagram followers. 12,000. I looked it up. Do you know how much money you make with 12,000 followers? Practically nothing. Maybe free products if you're lucky. Certainly not enough to justify a lifestyle that included weekly nail appointments, designer handbags, and Friday dinners at restaurants I couldn't afford to eat at. But every time I gently suggested that maybe Vanessa should get a part-time job while building her brand, or that maybe they should create a budget, I was met with resistance. You don't understand the influencer economy, Mom. This is an investment that takes time. We can't look poor online. Brands want to work with people who embody success. And then, 3 months ago, something changed. I'd asked them to come to my apartment for Sunday dinner. I made Michael's favorite, arroz con pollo, like I'd been making since he was a kid. During the meal, I brought up the money, gently. I wasn't demanding repayment. I just wanted to talk about a plan. Some acknowledgement that this couldn't keep going on forever. Vanessa's face went cold. Are you really going to nickel and dime us over family help? Michael, can you believe this? Mom, it sounds like you're keeping score, Michael said quietly. I am keeping score, I admitted. Because someone has to. I'm 58 years old, and I'm supposed to retire in 7 years. I've given you nearly $50,000. That's a year of my retirement, Michael. Vanessa stood up from the table. This is exactly the kind of toxic transactional relationship that my therapist warned me about. Michael, we should go. My therapist. She'd been to 2 sessions covered by their insurance that I didn't know I was also partially funding through their rent money. They left. My arroz con pollo sat half-eaten on the table. After that dinner, the requests didn't stop. They just came with more edge, more guilt, more manipulation. When I hesitated over an $800 request for website hosting and email marketing tools, Vanessa sent a long text about how I was sabotaging her dreams. When I said no to funding a brand photo shoot in the Keys, Michael called and used that disappointed voice that had worked on me since he was 7 years old. I started saying no more often. And that's when Vanessa started getting nasty. Michael's father would have supported us. His father died when Michael was 12. I guess we know where we stand in your priorities. Maybe if you'd been more supportive of Michael's dreams growing up, he wouldn't have such limiting beliefs about success now. That last one actually made me laugh. Limiting beliefs. Michael had a good job as an operations manager at a shipping company. He made $65,000 a year. The limiting belief was thinking that his wife's Instagram hobby should be subsidized by his retired nurse mother, which brings us back to that text message 2 months ago. The one about me being exhausting and negative. I didn't respond. Not that day, not the next day, not at all. And I didn't just not respond to that message. I stopped responding to all of them. When Michael called, I let it go to voicemail. When Vanessa texted, I read it and set my phone back down. I blocked Vanessa's number entirely after the first week. My friend Rosa, who I've worked with for 20 years, asked me if I was okay. You seem lighter, she said during our lunch break. She was right. I did feel lighter, like I'd been carrying something heavy for so long that I'd forgotten what it felt like to stand up straight. 3 weeks into my silence, Michael started calling from different numbers. Work. Friends' phones. He left voicemails. Mom, what's going on? Are you okay? Mom, this isn't like you. Can we talk? Mom, I'm worried. Please call me back. But never, not in a single message, did he say. Week 5. Vanessa tried something new. She sent a message from her own number, which meant she'd gotten around my block somehow. Maybe a new phone. Patricia. Michael is really hurt by your behavior. Whatever issue you have, can't we handle it like adults? Family doesn't just abandon family. I took a screenshot of that message. I took screenshots of everything. The nurse in me again. Document, document, document. Week 7. I got a call from Michael's boss. That caught me off guard. Mrs. Ruiz? This is Tom Davidson. I work with Michael. He's asked me to reach out to you. He's worried because he hasn't heard from you. I appreciate your concern, Tom, I said calmly. But I'm fine. This is between me and my son. He mentioned something about a family emergency fund. Said you usually help them with unexpected expenses, and he can't reach you. Family emergency fund. That's what she'd rebranded my retirement savings as. Tom, with respect, Michael is a 35-year-old man with a job and a wife. He doesn't need an emergency fund from his mother. He needs a budget. There was a pause. You know what, Mrs. Ruiz? You're absolutely right. I apologize for getting involved. Week 9. Things started falling apart for them. I knew because my neighbor's daughter followed Vanessa on Instagram. Young people love to watch train wrecks unfold online. Apparently, Vanessa had been pretty public about her luxury lifestyle and entrepreneurial journey. But suddenly, the posts changed. She started posting about toxic family members and people who don't support your dreams. There were cryptic quotes about betrayal and cutting off negative energy. Her follower count started dropping. 12,000 became 11,000, then 10,000. Week 11, I came home from work to find Michael sitting on the steps outside my apartment building. It was early October, humid and hot, even at 6 in the evening. He looked exhausted. Mom, can we please talk? I stopped a few feet away from him. Of course. What do you want to talk about? Why have you been ignoring us? I haven't been ignoring you, Michael. I've been giving you the space you asked for. You said you were adults who didn't need me hovering. I'm respecting that. He flinched. That message? Look, Vanessa was upset. You know how she gets. No, Michael. I know how she gets. The question is, why do you let her speak for you? She doesn't speak for me. I pulled out my phone and started scrolling. March 14th. Vanessa texts from your phone asking for money for her website redesign. April 2nd. Vanessa texts from your phone saying, I'm not being supportive. May 17th. Vanessa texts from your phone asking for $1,500 for a content creator course. Should I keep going? His face went red. She's my wife. We're a team. A team would have at least one person who remembered to say thank you. A team would make some effort to pay back a $50,000 loan. A team wouldn't tell me I'm exhausting and negative and then show up when they need something. 50,000? He looked genuinely shocked. It's not that much, Mom. I handed him my phone. He stared at the spreadsheet. I'd color-coded it. Each request, the amount, the stated reason, whether it was repaid. That last column was entirely empty. His hands were shaking. Where did you think the money was coming from, Michael? Who did you think I was? We were going to pay you back. Once. Vanessa's brand took off. Her brand isn't taking off. She has 10,000 Instagram followers and no revenue. That's not a brand. That's a hobby. An expensive hobby that I've been funding. He sat back down on the steps. What do you want me to do? I want you to go home and have an honest conversation with your wife. About money, about work, about reality. And I want you to understand that I love you, but I'm done being your ATM. We're in trouble, Mom. Real trouble. We owe back rent. The car payment bounced. Vanessa's credit cards are maxed out. My heart hurt. It actually physically hurt. In my chest. But I kept my voice steady. Then you need to handle that. Get a second job. Have Vanessa get any job. Sell the camera equipment you never use. Move to a cheaper apartment. File for bankruptcy if you have to. Those are all options available to adults. You're really not going to help us? I've helped you enough. More than enough. Now I'm helping you by letting you figure this out. He left. I went upstairs, microwaved some leftovers, and tried to watch TV. I couldn't focus. I'd done the right thing. I knew I'd done the right thing. So why did I feel like I just pushed my child off a cliff? 2 weeks later, my friend Rosa showed me something on her phone during our break. You need to see this. It was one of Vanessa's Instagram posts. A long caption over a black screen. When people show you who they are, believe them. I've learned the hard way that blood doesn't always mean loyalty. Some family members will smile to your face while sabotaging your dreams behind your back. To everyone dealing with toxic parents, you're not alone. Setting boundaries is self-care. Sometimes, you have to cut out the poison to let the good grow. Living my truth. Number toxic family. Number boundaries are healthy. Number choosing me. Ad. I read it 3 times. Then I started laughing. Not happy laughter. The kind of laughter that comes when something is so absurd you can't process it any other way. She posted that publicly? I asked Rosa. 1,300 likes so far. I handed the phone back. Well, at least she's honest about one thing. She is choosing herself. But Rosa looked worried. Patricia, people are commenting. They're saying terrible things about you. They don't know me. And anyone who does know me knows the truth. Still, I went home that night and made my Instagram account private. I'd only made it to share pictures of my garden with my sister in Tampa, but I wasn't taking chances. The comments on Vanessa's post got worse. People who'd never met me called me narcissistic, controlling, financially abusive. Someone suggested I might have a personality disorder. Vanessa was in her element. She responded to supportive comments with crying emojis and heart emojis. She posted stories about healing from family trauma. She started a series called Red Flags in Parent-Child Relationships. Her follower count went up. 11,000, 12,000, 14,000. She'd found her niche. Complaining about me was more profitable than lifestyle content. I didn't respond. Not publicly, anyway. But I did go see a lawyer. Do I have any legal recourse? I asked him. She's lying about me. To thousands of people. He shook his head. Unless she names you specifically, and you can prove financial damages from defamation, there's not much you can do. And even then, it's expensive and time-consuming. My advice? Don't engage. People like this usually sabotage themselves eventually. I took his advice. Thanksgiving came. I spent it with Rosa and her family. It was nice, quiet. Michael sent me a text on Thanksgiving morning. I miss you, Mom. Happy Thanksgiving, I replied. Happy Thanksgiving, Michael. I miss you too, but I didn't invite him over, and he didn't ask. December started. Then, one evening, in the middle of the month, my phone rang. Unknown number. Mrs. Ruiz? This is Detective Sarah Morrison, with Miami-Dade Police Department. Do you have a few minutes to talk? My blood went cold. Is Michael okay? Your son is fine, ma'am. I'm actually calling about your daughter-in-law, Vanessa Ruiz. I sat down. What about her? We've had several complaints filed against her. It appears she's been running what we'd classify as wire fraud through social media. She's been soliciting donations from followers for various causes, business ventures, and personal hardships that don't appear to exist. We're investigating, and your name came up in our research. My hand tightened around the phone. How? She's received over $30,000 in donations in the past 4 months through various platforms. PayPal, Venmo, GoFundMe. In several of her posts, she referenced financial abuse from a family member and implied she was in dire straits. We've been tracking the money. It's been used for personal expenses, restaurants, shopping, rent. Nothing fraudulent about using donation money for living expenses necessarily, except she was claiming the money was for business investments and charitable causes. I had no idea. We didn't think you did. But we need to ask if she's ever solicited money from you under false pretenses. I thought about the camera equipment that never got used, the website that looked the same as it did 2 years ago, the brand deals that never happened, the business trips that produced nothing but Instagram photos. Yes, I said. She has. Detective Morrison asked me to come in and give a statement. I did. I brought my spreadsheet. I brought screenshots of messages. I brought bank records. This is very helpful, Mrs. Ruiz. You've been documenting this for a while. I'm a nurse, I said. We document everything. 3 days before Christmas, Michael called me. Really called, from his own number. And kept calling until I answered. Mom, please. I need help. What happened? Vanessa was arrested. They're saying she committed fraud, wire fraud, that she scammed people online. Mom, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. His voice cracked. He was crying. Where are you right now? At home. They took her yesterday. Bail is set at $50,000. I don't have it. I can't get it. Mom, I know I don't deserve to ask, but please, I'm begging you. She's my wife. I closed my eyes, took a breath. Michael, I need you to listen to me very carefully. I'm not bailing out Vanessa. I'm not giving you money for a lawyer for Vanessa. I will help you if you need help. But I'm done enabling her. She's going to go to prison. If she committed fraud, then yes, she might. That's what happens when you break the law. I can't believe you're being this cold. I'm not being cold. I'm being clear. And Michael? You need to ask yourself something. When did Vanessa start soliciting donations from strangers online? And what was she telling them about our family? Silence. Talk to a lawyer. Not for her. For you. You need to understand what your legal exposure is in all this. And Michael, I love you. Call me when you're ready to have an honest conversation. I hung up. Christmas Eve. I worked. I volunteered for the shift so a younger nurse could be home with her toddlers. When I got home at midnight, there was a card under my door. Inside was a letter from Michael, handwritten. Mom, I'm so sorry. I've been blind. I've been stupid. I've let Vanessa manipulate both of us for years, and I can't even explain why except that I wanted so badly to believe in her dream. In our dream. But it wasn't a dream. It was a delusion, and I funded it with your retirement money and your love and your trust. The detective told me what Vanessa was doing online. She was telling people you'd cut her off without reason, that you were abusive, that she needed help escaping a toxic situation. She raised thousands of dollars, and I had no idea, or maybe I didn't want to know. I'm filing for divorce. I'm moving out. I found a room to rent in Hialeah, and I'm picking up extra shifts. I'm going to pay you back. All of it. It'll take years, but I'll do it. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just need you to know that I finally see what I couldn't see before. You were protecting me, and I called it hovering. You were trying to help me grow up, and I called it negativity. I'm sorry, Mom. I love you. Michael. I read it 3 times sitting on my couch in the dark, with just the light from my Christmas tree. Then I cried. Not sad crying. Relief crying. The kind of crying you do when something that's been broken finally starts to heal. I called him the next morning. Christmas Day. Come over for dinner, I said. I'm making pernil. Mom, Just come over, Michael. It's Christmas. He came. We ate. We talked. Really talked. For the first time in years. He told me everything. How Vanessa had convinced him that traditional jobs were wage slavery, how she'd promised they were always 6 months away from her big break, how she'd isolated him from his friends because they didn't understand the entrepreneurial mindset. She wasn't always like this, he said. Or maybe she was, and I couldn't see it. I don't know anymore. What matters is that you see it now. Are you going to testify against her? If they ask me to? Yes. He nodded slowly. I understand. We finished dinner. Cleaned up together. And when he left, he hugged me tight. Thank you for not giving up on me, he whispered. I'm your mother. I couldn't give up on you if I tried. That was 3 weeks ago. Vanessa's case is moving forward. The prosecutor says she'll likely plead guilty to avoid a trial. Her Instagram is deleted. The followers, the posts, the carefully curated life, all gone. Michael is going to therapy. Real therapy. Not 2 sessions. He's working through what happened, understanding how he got there. And me? I'm back at work. Back to my garden. Back to my life. But I learned something through all of this. Something important. Silence isn't cruel. Sometimes silence is the most loving thing you can do. When someone demands your response, your reaction, your money, your energy, sometimes the kindest answer is no answer at all, because silence gives people space. Space to face themselves. Space to see the consequences of their choices without you rushing in to cushion the fall. I didn't abandon my son. I gave him room to find his way back to himself. And when that text came, telling me I was exhausting and negative, I could have defended myself. I could have argued. I could have sent back paragraph after paragraph explaining myself, but I didn't. I said nothing, and I let silence work.